Hello dear ELL teaching colleagues. As I promised in my previous video, I'm sharing my summer school curriculum. You will have it for free and it's a deck of 78 slides. And although this is a summer school curriculum, I do have to tell you that I use a very similar structure and similar activities during my ELL pull-out classes during the school year. So feel free to use this outline and strategies and lessons during the school year as well. I do want to share a couple of pointers to help you navigate this deck of slides. I wrote a roadmap for week 1 with big goals and specific activities. I like to stay focused and true to my students' needs that I had observed during the school year. This is my daily outline, and this is a rough outline because I don't think it's possible or necessary to always stick to the original plan. And of course, this is the beauty of teaching in summer school. You have a little bit more freedom. I start my day with question of the day. I also wanted to address some academic words, and so we had academic word of the day. I do want to share here that I don't think that teaching academic words in isolation as part of a list is super effective. It is a lot easier and more fun and more powerful to teach academic words in connection to the subject, to the content you're teaching. I wasn't sheltering per se any particular subject, so it was a little bit challenging, and I do have to honestly say a little bit less effective. However, I did create some activities that would help involve my students and help them make connections with these academic words. Working with blog posts and articles that address the academic words and or question of the day. This is the part that allows me to bring in some real life application. You will see what I'm talking about. Every day we use because, but, so sentence activities from the Writing Revolution book. Also did some grammar work. I used Lexia Skill Builders mostly. And we had a whole block for paragraph or text writing, and during the second week it was mostly text reading and some summarizing. For question of the day, I created a little algorithm that you will have on your slides. One of my favorite questions of the day was, what does it mean to you to be human? First of all, my students shared some really interesting insights, and then on the same day I was using this question. On my Facebook, I ran across a picture of this green lady, and everything around her was green. And guess what? This post was part of the Washington Post series on humans, and even this caption says, reminds us what it means to be human. So I thought it was super appropriate to ask my students to read this little information about the green lady and to discuss what it means to her to be human. We're moving on to the academic word of the day. Like I said, I had a little toolkit with ready-made activities, but I also devised my own sequence of steps to follow. It's all here. I like to try my best to make connections between different activities, and you will see how easy it was with this word, the abstract. I drew my students' attention to the second meaning of the word abstract as in abstract art, and that was a nice segue to the abstract art project. In the writing project, the big goal was to teach my students to write a descriptive text with vivid details using information from related texts. Throughout the week, we were reading and writing and creating a little abstract art glossary. You will see all kinds of activities, close exercises, exit ticket, review of vocabulary via some of Kagan structures. Here you will have a hot link to the video where I explain how I use Roundtable in my ELL pull-out classes. And then I had my students paint their own abstract piece of art. We read some more, we looked at some masterpieces, and finally, they had to write a descriptive piece of writing to describe their classmates' abstract picture. For the second week, we shifted from the focus on the abstract art to some nature in general and then some environmental problems. I spell out my specific activities for each of the texts we were reading. You can follow the same algorithms, the same questions for whatever text you would like to read. Please do review these texts prior to giving it to your students to make sure it is age appropriate. Here's the video we watched, step by step. Work with that video that resulted in my students writing a summary sentence. As part of working on this text and as part of week 2 outline, my students had to write a little argumentative essay about toxic pollutants. Here you'll have a link to my argumentative essay lesson and also a free packet of graphic organizers and keyword guides. On the last day we had watermelons and did some watermelon related activities. And I did want to bring in special attention to my note on grammar instruction. Like I have mentioned, I used a Lexia program, Lexia Power Up Skill Builders to be specific. I chose activities and lessons that focus on sentence structure, for example, identifying simple and compound sentences, expanding simple sentences by adding clauses, and so on. You might not have Lexia subscription, but whatever grammar and writing resources you have, I would strongly recommend to use their exercises for also practicing the content you are teaching. For example, one day my students had to expand a simple sentence with new details in one of Lexia's worksheets. I then created the same kind of exercises but inserted information about Rachel Carson and toxic pollutants that we were learning about that day and the day before. It's a lot more effective to practice grammar skills using material that is meaningful and pertinent to what the students are studying. Thank you so much for watching this. Thank you for asking me to share. I feel extremely honored, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. And happy teaching, everyone!